For decades, Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page have been two of the greatest guitar legends the world has ever known, two men whose riffs shaped rock and roll itself. They were friends, rivals, collaborators, and symbols of an era when the guitar was more than an instrument. It was rebellion, emotion, and art. But for years, there's been one question that fans have never stopped asking. What really happened between Clapton and Page? Why did their friendship fade? Why did they never truly share the stage again the way fans always hoped? Now, after decades of silence, Eric Clapton has finally spoken, and what he revealed about Jimmy Page has left the rock world stunned. It all began in the smoky clubs of 1960s London, the heart of the British blues explosion. Clapton was already a rising star with the Yardbirds, a band that mixed blues roots with electric energy. But when he left the group over creative differences, it was Jimmy Page, then a session guitarist, who quietly stepped in to help the band survive. Their paths crossed often in those early years. Both were obsessed with the guitar, spending long nights studying American blues legends like B.B. King and Robert Johnson. They admired each other's playing but were also aware, painfully aware, of the competition between them. In one interview decades ago, Clapton admitted, "Jimmy and I were always circling each other. There was respect, but also rivalry. You couldn't ignore what he was doing." When Page formed Led Zeppelin, the rock world changed forever. The band's massive sound, wild performances, and revolutionary approach to guitar turned Jimmy into a global icon. Clapton, meanwhile, was walking a different path, one filled with emotional depth and personal demons. As Clapton battled addiction, heartbreak, and the pressure of fame, Page was conquering the world with Stairway to Heaven. And though they rarely spoke publicly about each other, rumors of tension followed them for years. Some said Clapton resented Zeppelin's success. Others claimed Page felt that Clapton looked down on him as a showman, rather than a pure bluesman. But now, for the first time, Clapton has addressed the truth, and his words reveal something far deeper than rivalry. In a recent interview, Clapton said quietly, "Jimmy Page is one of the most brilliant musicians I've ever known. For a long time, I was too proud to admit how much he inspired me." He went on to explain that during the height of his addiction and emotional turmoil in the 1970s, he distanced himself not just from Page, but from nearly everyone. "I wasn't angry at Jimmy," Clapton confessed. "I was angry at myself. I saw him doing things I couldn't, staying creative, pushing boundaries. I envied that." When Clapton finally got clean in the late 1980s, he reached out to Page privately. The two met briefly, away from the spotlight, sharing stories about their journeys, their regrets, and the heavy price of fame. "We didn't talk about music," Clapton said. "We talked about survival. We'd both seen the dark side of success." Despite fans' endless hopes for a collaboration, it never came. Both men walked different artistic roads. But Clapton's recent words show that what once may have been rivalry had evolved into something far more profound: respect and forgiveness. In the same interview, Clapton ended with a reflection that silenced everyone in the room. "People love to imagine feuds between musicians. But the truth is, Jimmy Page and I are part of the same story. Without him, I wouldn't be who I am. And without me, maybe he wouldn't be who he became. We were never enemies. We were brothers chasing the same sound." For fans, those words finally closed a decades-long chapter. The so-called feud between two legends wasn't built on hate. It was built on passion, pressure, and the price of genius. And as Clapton now reflects on a lifetime of music and memories, his words about Jimmy Page remind us that sometimes silence doesn't mean resentment. It means reflection, and eventually, peace.